Lucy the elephant was entering the second stage of her pregnancy at Amboseli National Park in Kenya. Unlike her first pregnancy, this time the birth process turned out to be long and difficult. After hours of intense pain and distress, Lucy finally gave birth. The park staff, who had been closely monitoring her, gathered around to see the newborn. But as soon as they laid eyes on the baby, they couldn't contain their shock and amazement. When the staff first noticed Lucy showing signs of labor, they quickly called in a veterinarian to assist. This wasn't her first time giving birth. She had delivered a calf 2 years earlier. That first pregnancy had almost gone unnoticed because Lucy had remained calm and showed little sign of discomfort. However, this time was different. The staff had detected the pregnancy early, and as time passed, they noticed that Lucy seemed increasingly uncomfortable. The birth process itself was more complicated, and Lucy appeared uneasy in her own skin, struggling more than usual. As her labor progressed, Lucy became restless, pacing around her enclosure and trumpeting loudly in distress. The zookeepers, realizing this birth was more challenging than the last, kept a close eye on her. Lucy's pain seemed unbearable. She screamed continuously, reaching out to her herd and the staff as though pleading for help. Nothing seemed to ease her suffering. She rubbed herself against trees, walked back and forth, and cried out. But the birth moved along painfully slowly. Her cries echoed across the park, reaching nearby cliffs and attracting the attention of predators and curious animals. However, Lucy's herd quickly formed a protective barrier around her, warding off any potential threats. The elephants in her group seemed deeply concerned, staying close to keep her safe. The park staff watched anxiously, hoping Lucy would survive the agonizing ordeal. The veterinarian remained ready to intervene if necessary, but the natural process needed to unfold on its own. Suddenly, Lucy froze. Minutes passed in tense silence before one of the rangers approached to check on her. When he saw what had happened, he shouted in astonishment, calling the rest of the staff over. To everyone's disbelief, Lucy had given birth to twins, a phenomenon so rare among elephants that it had only been documented a handful of times, with the last recorded case in 1980. The mystery behind her larger-than-usual size during pregnancy now made sense. After the initial excitement wore off, the staff's concern grew. Twin births in the wild are rare for a reason. Raising 2 calves is an immense challenge for any elephant mother. Often, the weaker of the two struggles to keep up and may not survive. Their worries deepened when they noticed the reaction of Lucy's older daughter, who had been born during her previous pregnancy. Unlike most older siblings in elephant families, who usually welcome new additions warmly, Lucy's daughter seemed irritated by the arrival of her twin brothers. She even displayed aggressive behavior, stomping near them and pretending to charge. Lucy was too exhausted to intervene, but thankfully, the elephant herd stepped in. Elephant families are close-knit and function like cooperative units. One of the older females in the group gently guided Lucy's daughter away from the newborns, calming her with soothing touches from her trunk. This intervention relieved the staff, who were anxious about the twins' safety, especially given how rare and significant their birth was for the elephant community. As the staff continued to observe, they watched the twins attempt to stand for the first time, a heartwarming but challenging process. One of the twins seemed strong and determined, managing to get up, take a few wobbly steps, and then fall back down. He kept trying, showing remarkable perseverance. The other twin, however, struggled much more. Despite his efforts, he couldn't get his legs under him and eventually gave up, lying in the grass, exhausted. The park staff grew increasingly concerned about the weaker twin. While his lethargy was understandable after such an effort, it was also a troubling sign. Meanwhile, the stronger twin continued to explore awkwardly, displaying affection toward Lucy, who responded by feeding him tenderly. However, Lucy was also visibly anxious about her second calf. Despite her exhaustion, she got up, approached him, and nudged him with her trunk, trying to encourage him to stand. When he didn't respond, Lucy began making distressed noises, which drew the attention of the rest of the herd. The herd gathered around Lucy and her struggling calf, showing signs of concern. They tried to assist the weak twin, using their trunks to nudge him gently, but he barely reacted. The atmosphere grew tense and sorrowful, as the elephants seemed to sense the gravity of the situation. The staff watched helplessly, knowing they couldn't interfere with nature's course, even as Lucy and her herd showed increasing signs of anxiety. Just as hope seemed to fade, something miraculous happened. Encouraged by the presence and support of his mother and herd, the weaker twin summoned all his strength for one last attempt. As he struggled to lift himself, Lucy wrapped her trunk around him, providing the support he desperately needed. This unexpected assistance gave the calf the encouragement to finally stand on his shaky legs. Slowly but surely, he began taking his first steps, albeit unsteadily. The mood in the valley shifted dramatically. For the first time since the twins' birth, it seemed both calves would be okay. The entire herd erupted in joyful trumpeting, announcing their triumph to the surrounding wilderness. This was a significant milestone in the twins' lives, and the herd celebrated the victory together. The park staff, inspired by the resilience and cooperation they had witnessed, eventually returned to their camp, reflecting on the rare and touching event they had just observed. Word of the twins' birth spread quickly. When the staff shared photos of the newborns on social media, the images went viral, garnering thousands of positive comments and widespread attention. Visitors from around the world became eager to witness the rare sight of elephant twins, and Amboseli National Park found itself in the spotlight. While the attention brought excitement, it also raised concerns. The park had to prepare for potential threats, including the risk of poachers drawn by the fame of the newborn elephants. To safeguard the twins, the park increased security, deploying more rangers to monitor the herd. These rangers were vigilant, keeping a close eye on both calves to ensure their well-being. After a few days, however, they noticed troubling signs in the weaker twin. He became lethargic and anxious, raising alarms among the staff. The veterinarian was called back to assess the calf's condition. Approaching the calf wasn't easy, as the protective herd surrounded him, wary of any perceived threats. The veterinarian observed from a distance and initially reported that the calf appeared stable. But when the elephant began to move, it became clear that his health was declining. Concerned, the vet obtained permission from the Wildlife Commission to intervene, knowing that the calf might need more than just natural care. Upon closer inspection, the vet realized the calf needed nutritional supplements. However, administering the injection proved challenging, as the baby elephant panicked at the sight of humans approaching with medical equipment. Despite the calf's fear, the vet managed to deliver the necessary supplements with the help of the rangers. Over time, the treatment began to take effect, and the weaker twins' condition slowly improved. The combined efforts of the park staff, the vet, and Lucy's devoted herd ensured the survival of both calves. Their story became a symbol of resilience, cooperation, and the extraordinary bonds within elephant families. The park continued to monitor the twins, cherishing the rare miracle they had been privileged to witness.